Caleb, what happened last time?
Well, Mr. Sir, Captain Darius, we went to go to the prearranged meeting place with our contacts with the data slate. With this location of your prize, and well, it was a rather morbid scene. There was for whatever reason, it was decided that the site of an execution, hanging would be a good spot for this deal, and it really wasn't. But there was an attack while we were there that seemed to be directed at us. Some thugs appeared and fired at us from the rooftops, killing our contact after we had paid her. Unfortunately, we are quite fine. Killed several of the miscreants, but we did get the data slate with the coordinates for the wreck that we were being directed to. Rather short excursion all in all, but we got what we wanted.
So it sounds to me like it was quite successful. I'm glad that all of you and my retinue came out relatively unscathed. It seems there are more hands at work here than our own, though. Did you learn of any affiliation with those miscreants you described? Did you learn any of whom they work for?
No, we departed rather quickly. Guards were arriving on the scene, and I think we were content to let them clean up those who remained. However, I have been thinking, and they did, before firing at any of us, they did shoot at our contact, the local military lady. So I have the strangest feeling that she may have known, and may have been even their source of the knowledge of our arrival. If I was to guess, that might be where we were sold out.
You feel it was directed at us, though, not at her, despite her being the one who was killed?
No, I do. I mean, they waited until we arrived to do the attack, and I don't think that she was terribly important. The most valuable thing about her was the information that she had, this data slate, and perhaps the identities of our attackers. Maybe she even sold us out a little, double dealing. But we don't know ultimately. I sort of, in hindsight, regret leaving so quickly, but it was a chaotic and violence of a situation we weren't quite frustrated. So
I feel you made the best decision that you could. It is good that we have came away with any information regarding this whatsoever. Darius regards the rest of the crew and says that he regards this as a success, and we should move on to our next destination. After, of course, we have to examine the data slate, I'm sure, to discover where it is, but it sounds like we did a good job.
Right here, my lord.
You could take a look at the basic data of the data slate, or you can attempt to hack further into it using a tech use skill.
I could hack into it.
Alright, make a tech use check.
No modifiers?
Well, yeah, I would say that you could have a plus 20 because you've had plenty of time. Like, you've had a long time to be able to look at it. What'd you get?
A 35.
35.
3 degrees of success.
Nice. Okay. E410. You're able to tell that this, first of all, some things that are basic, that are obvious about it. This is a information that is classified. It's from the Imperial Navy. And you're able to easily bypass the Imperial Navy's encryption. You find it laughable. They noted during the Battlefleet's crossing of the Maw that there's an area within the Maw that they simply called the battleground. There are all of these ruined and wrecked ships there. Most of them are worthless, and they found that the passage through the Maw was very difficult. Some Imperial ships were damaged in the process of crossing it. They did find, mostly intact, the Emperor's Bounty, which is a Lathe class light cruiser. You know that under your dynasty's your commission, that you would have rights to anything you discovered in this way, if you requested to be able to seize it as your own property.
We should get it. I like to salvage wrecks.
Yeah,
It would be worth a lot.
This light cruiser is very old and venerable, and it is probably a couple millennia old. So it's a good cruiser.
And that is, you're referring to the cruiser that we would be specifically seeking out, if I understand it, within the battleground?
Yeah, this is the information that this naval corporal lackey kind of was offering to you for sale, is like, hey, here's the location of an Imperial cruiser. The Battlefleet, Coronis, it barely passed on their radar, and it just kind of got lost in Imperial Navy staff and in their info. It was just lost for a long time, and then this corporal got it and sold it to you. Someone tried to intervene and stop her, but you were able to get the information.
Okay. That sounds good to me. What do the rest of you think? Is there anything we should consider before we travel to this battleground? And I suppose, someone plot a course for us. How close is this battleground to us?
You know, if you have your staff with you in the course of this, perhaps we should introduce your staff, actually. I don't think we did that last time, right? I think we jumped right in to, like, this little mini scenario, right? We didn't actually introduce our characters or anything, right?
I think we introduced them a little bit, and the viewer can probably get a feel for our characters' personalities, but we can introduce if we need to.
Yeah, and I mean, Alex is here now, so in particular, so we have the new character. Tell us about Captain Darius.
Alright, well, Darius he's someone who appears on the younger side, and he still has a brilliant, full head of hair, though those who are a part of his retinue know for certain that he is nearing 100 years of age. He's almost a centennial. How's that pronounced? Centenarian?
Yeah.
He has a taste. He's a rogue trader, so he has a taste for riches, but he is known to share it quite widely and handsomely with those he counts as being a part of his inner retinue, which I'm sure is who he would consider all the other player characters to be. And when we're not out journeying to be places, like when he gathers everyone in the... Wow, words are escaping me today. What would you refer to? The commanding position on a cruiser, on a ship.
When you're
Bridge.
The bridge, yes. Yes, he makes sure that everyone's on the bridge and everyone has whatever they wish, wine, food, etc. And basically he commands from there. Oh, right. When he's off board, off ship, he has a suit of carapace armor that he wears. And it's got a blued, blue steel. It's got that kind of a coating, a rendition to it. And I don't think there's much more for me to add about him yet. He's just kind of got a joyous, unhindered sort of personality, which leads him astray from time to time.
all right. Your second in command, your Siniscal.
The second in command, Ramirez Marone. He is a tall, sharp-featured, handsome feller. Quite young-looking himself, though not nearly as old as his superior. He's how am I gonna put this politely? He's a hardworking man. He, does want what's best for the crew. Yet everyone's pretty sure that he's up to something or onto something. He smiles a little bit too wide, chuckles a little bit too low whenever he's answering a question. But no matter, he still serves as an investigator on the ship in his Xeno harvested mesh armor. Wow, that was botched.
No, that's good. Interestingly, you have acquired to your service, and unique to this crew in particular, as we agreed, these people have all sworn fealty to your dynasty, right? So all of them could potentially be rogue traders, which is kind of odd. Especially so are two priests of the Adeptus Mechanicus who have joined your crew. Tell us about E410. Actually.
Well, E410 is also known as Emil before he got all enhanced by the Mechanicus and changed his name to numbers. But he was a scavenger on the Forge world at the very bottom of hives and stuff, and then he worked his way up. And he was good at finding things and surviving. And bad stuff always seems to happen because he got shipwrecked.
What's he look like?
How? Just very normal tech priest looking with the robes and the mechanical. There's not much mechanical stuff on his face. It's mostly his back. He's got the mecha dendrite and cyber spine.
Yeah.
So mostly for lifting doors off wrecks and stuff and things to salvage better.
All right, and then what about 5713?
5713 is an eclectic individual and tech piece, perhaps with a little bit more of a youthful appearance than some tech priests, but that's offset by a very kind of twitchy and odd mannerisms. He's very curious and enjoys encountering and exploring new technologies and places, and he's very eager to spread the wisdom of the Omnissiah and its blessings in the forms of replacing all of your disgusting meaty parts with vastly superior machinery. Yes.
All right. And then lastly, promoted by Gabriel Noriega, the Sergeant at Arms that works directly for the Senescal Ramirez Maroon. All of the people in your retinue, by the way, would be addressed as Lord at the minimum. You know, Captain Darius would be Lord Captain, and this person, Hans the Move, suddenly finds himself in essentially high nobility. But yeah, who is Hans the Move? The Move.
Hans is he's kind of young, but he has plenty of scars from growing up on a death world and having to fight to stay alive, basically since he was born. Then eventually he got gang pressed by the ship, and he's been there ever since. He's of average height. He has a slightly haunted look to him. And he doesn't talk a whole lot. He prefers to just shoot first and ask questions later. And yeah, that's kind of Hans. If you can't shoot it, he'll try and stab it. And if you can't stab it, he'll try and punch it.
All right.
We call him the Mover and the Shaker.
If you do not mind me inquiring, when did we call him that?
Every chance I get.
Of course.
I wonder if this doesn't show it, so I imagine it's either covered under the hood or it's on the right side. But there is this like big red eye that can like look somewhere on his skull for 5713. So that will matter later. Almost inevitably. Anyways, there are. If you ask that question, to go back to what you were asking, Darius, can we plot a course and what do we know? Your staff erupts into activity before you call them back to a meeting. Your navigator, Kimber Guldani, from a noble navigator house, one of their houses, has probably had to take the time, like probably almost like a week, to like go into her chamber and commune with the astropathic relay of your vessel, and enter into kind of like this trance to be able to kind of know what's going on in the warp and to consult charts and stuff. But when you call them back, you have the vessel itself as this grim affair, at least mostly. There are people in here that are no longer people. They're like, some of the people standing around here, only their top torsos and faces are available. Sometimes their mouths are missing, and these are servitors. And they operate a large portion of the ship. They make the ship run. Additionally, some people on your ship are still people, but still have portions of themselves missing. Would you say, Darius, that that you recently came into command of this ship, or has it been a while now?
Very recent, I would say. This is kind of like something... He's only recently been thrown into this position by his family, so this was something promised to him long ago, but only now is he actually utilizing it.
Okay, if that's the case, then when you call your staff together for your first endeavor aboard the Millennium Boneyard, they gather around this holographic display where you can do briefings and all these different cogitators and servitors and stuff like that. They're probably, if it's the first endeavor, your staff and your various guards, you probably have your own guards with their own heraldry and things like that. They're probably at attention, and there's even a ceremony to begin your first endeavor. Gabriel Noriega is your sergeant at arms. He answers directly to your lieutenant Ramirez Maroon. Ramirez, how long have you served on this vessel?
I just started. This is my second session. How would I know?
You just make it up. Now, the vessel was pulled off of a Space Hulk, but that would have been in recent memory, so that still could have been a century ago or whatever, you know. Because the retinue of a rogue trader are people that can, you know, they could have lived 200 years, 300 years even, you know. Between juvenile treatments, and then the warp also screws with time. Sometimes you go into the warp and you come out like 6 months later, you know? So...
In that case, despite everything, he actually might be the baby of the team.
Yeah, okay, so... Also...
Although clearly he did something right to become the second-hand man of the rogue trader.
Right. I based on the pre-gens and the adventure and everything, my guess is the thing that did that was talent. That you probably have like an eidetic memory. You're probably a genius. I don't know. Those are some. I don't know.
Looking over my skills, he's very good at getting into places and figuring things out.
Yeah. For some
Probably,
reason.
may have helped him cut down on some of his more corrupt staff members, if you catch my drift.
Yeah.
Here's what this person is doing behind your back. This is what this person is doing behind your back. This is what this person is doing behind both of their backs.
Ah. Yeah, so maybe you've served Darius in that respect for a long time anyways, you know, because otherwise someone like Darius can't live for very long. Okay. Gabriel is this, he's this old man. The crew of the ship is not, while they're talented, they're not in the best shape. You don't have necessarily the very best. And so this old man has like a bionic part of his body, his like whole left limb, and you can actually hear it click and hiss and grind as he kind of like hobbles toward Captain Darius, and he has a data slate, and he says, "Lord Captain, I'm Gabriel Noriega. I have served your family for 300 years. I am honored to serve you now on your first endeavor. It has been too long since your family's ship is taken to the stars."
I am glad to have you at my side. Indeed, we shall reclaim the glory of our dynasty, as it were in the past.
"We will bring our power and light to 100 worlds." And he nods and he gives us like the salute, you know, and hands you a data slate. He's kind of overweight. Part of his face is replaced, you know, his left leg is replaced, and he's an old guy. The data slate is your authorization. It is a writ of it is a writ of claim, and it blesses you in the name of the Adeptus Administratum, that on behalf of the ship's supplication to the Holy Imperial Throne World of Terra, that you may indeed take the Emperor's bounty as your own.
A digital signature in the far-flung future.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't remember what the title of the High Lord is that carries the authority of the Administratum, but high administrator or something like that, but I'm sure probably his signature is just used for everything, but he's certainly not seen a trillion of these that pass through the Imperium every day. But you also have here Gracia Electus. Gracia Electus is off from this holographic display. You have your command throne, which is like this. It is both a place where you can sit and be actually in charge of the ship, but it is also like a thing that kind of plugs into you, that melds you and your crew together. Like it is both things at the same time. And then down among the staff is another throne where a person is kind of like plugged into it, and that is your ship's pilot, Gracia Electus. And she is missing many of her parts and has indeed become kind of one with the ship. And then also you have Kimber Guildani, who I mentioned is your navigator. She's a dark-skinned woman, and she has her eyes and part of her forehead covered, and otherwise has elegant white robes, is like nobility. And she's accompanied by other people in white robes. And she says, "Lord Captain, I have looked into the warp, and I have some unfortunate news about the Emperor's bounty in this supposed battleground."
What news do you have of this? I was expecting to hear good things.
In the warp, sir.
Yes, perhaps you've heard here in this subsector there is a portion of warp space that bisects Port Wonder and the more civilized parts of Imperial space with what else exists in the Coronis Expanse. It's known as the Maw. There are narrow passages of the Maw in which Imperial vessels can come to and fro with some reliability, and we have recent navigation charts for them. I regret to say that the battleground is not such a place. It seems that the Imperial fleet that passed through there took some damage, and some damage to their Geller field. It is not a stable warp passage, and so there is some risk. I have divined through my communion with the astropathic relay a couple of options. One option is to try to get there as quickly as possible. This would be the riskiest option, and it would expose us the most to the warp. The other option is, to mitigate this risk, we could enter real space. However, and actually I have to make a roll for this. I forgot. I have to see if she would know this. This is going to be one of those, oh, it's fine, actually. Oh, it's fine, actually. Never mind. Yeah. Yeah, so those are, that's what she says. She says you can either, like, just try to get through the warp as fast as possible, but it would be risky and you would expose yourself to the warp for longer, in a place where apparently it damaged the Geller fields of some Imperial vessels. Or you could attempt to kind of skip through it by entering real space short of the destination, so that you don't expose yourself for as long, but it'll take longer.
Darius will look at all of his members and his crew, or rather his retinue, and he will raise his arms and say, "I believe one or more of you have been witness to a failure of the Geller field before. Would you suggest we risk such a thing?"
We were on the same vessel, no less. It may be wiser to take the long way around.
I must admit, I was rather hoping to, even before this news, take a glance at our Geller field, device, and make sure it's firing on all cylinders, as it were, just in case. That's a risk one doesn't really want to. Failure would be quite bad, yes.
Indeed. Ramirez, take the servant of the Mechanicus back to the Geller field. Give it a thorough examination before we leave. And the rest of you, I believe we should be traveling through real space as well. And if this is indeed a vast graveyard of vessels, I need the rest of you to make sure that we have adequate ammunition stores in the macro battery. We may have to blast some scrap out of our way. And with that, Darius will, try to. I'll ask if you guys are good for it. Half of you examine the Geller field, and the other half, I guess, we'll spend our time checking up on the ships before we leave. Our ship, rather.
All right. To examine the Geller field, Kimber Guldani, even though she appears to be just blind, she turns toward toward her servants and nods, and the servant nods back and gives the sign of the Imperium and bows, and goes with you, because as I understand it, Geller fields at this point require psyker assistance to be able to work, because we don't have the STC to know how to do a complete Geller device anymore.
Yes, that was one of my points of inquiry. I know there's older Geller machines that.
Oh wait, no, this is an old ship. This is
they just do the thing, but the new ones we don't have the cool stuff anymore, and so we have to plug psychers into them as batteries. And I was wondering what the nature of our Geller device was.
Yeah, I forgot. I'm sorry. This ship is thousands of years old. That's one of the advantages of it. So yeah. And also, it is Millennium 41. It's not Millennium 42. So,
I get them confused sometimes myself.
I think, I mean, I imagine. Well, first of all, before you do that, Gracia Electus, the pilot, turns back and says,
Lord Captain, would you like to put me on Vox, or would you like me to put you on Vox for the crew before we depart? And should we leave Port Wander now?
Ooh. What do you think, guys? Is there anything you guys can think of that we want to try and acquire from the port before we set out?
So, and I was going to say, you could make an acquisitions test, and does anybody remember? I'm trying to look that up, but without looking through the book, does anyone remember how an acquisitions test? I can look at it here.
I was just at it. Let me look. It's basically making a check, and it gets compared to. I'm not sure what it gets compared to.
Your profit factor, right?
I believe
how much money
so.
you have.
Yeah.
It says that you roll less than your profit factor on a D100. And then we modify it based on if it's common equipment or not. So anyone wanting extra equipment can make an acquisition test before you leave Port Wonder.
Alter ammo. And my ammunition quandary has yet to be resolved.
I'm sorry.
I don't know how
so
this
you can roll
exists.
a D100, yes. And then the profit factor, what was it? Did we?
I don't think we ever calculated it. It's something that comes from like all of our backgrounds and the initial roll. I had the initial roll written down.
No, we had it because what you had is you had two options based on your roll. You can either have a high profit factor and not a good ship, or a really good ship and not a good profit factor. And you picked a good ship. So your profit factor was like 30 and your ship starting ship points were 70 or something like that. Remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, we picked the quality over quantity.
I'll just say it's 30. What'd you get?
I got a 70.
You are not able to procure more magazines. That is your magazine for this endeavor.
I can't just find some Space Marines and go, do you need that? Are you using that?
What were you saying, Alex?
What's the? It's kind of interesting to how this chart works. What is the population, I suppose, of the port that we're at?
That's a good question too. Yeah, and I mean, I'm down to modify all that stuff. And it was common, but he got a 70. But it is a I don't know. I without looking at the chart, it's not a hab world. It's just a port kind of on the edge of space, but it's also got, I don't know, tens of thousands, no, hundreds of thousands, because it's even got ships. It's probably got a fraction of a million people there. Yeah, Port Wonder.
I think I'll try getting a
Acquisition modifiers. Okay, well, and then
Yeah.
it's an average kind of thing.
Could I roll to see if I could find a prey sense sight for one of my hell guns?
What is it?
Prey sense sight.
Prescient
it shows
sight?
thermal. Yeah, it shows thermal images where enemies may be in the darkness and gives me a plus 20 bonus to vision-based percentile test.
If you have it in the book, it should show how its availability. It should say like it's rare or average or common or
Rolling down. All right. Let's see here. Initial ammunition, armor.
If not, I'll just make a ruling on it. It sounds like it would
Here
be.
we go. I just saw it. It's it is very rare.
All right, then you can roll a D100 and subtract. So it says minus 20, but I think what it means is you would add 20. So that's kind of
Okay.
because you got to get under your profit value.
Definitely not.
All right. Anybody else want to attempt an acquisitions test before we leave Port Wonder?
Could I attempt to grab a couple extra charge packs from my hell gun?
Absolutely. I'm pretty sure that those are common. It says Lasgun, for example, common.
Alright. Do you mind if I just use my physical dice? Or do you want me to roll and roll?
Yeah,
20?
go ahead. Yeah.
That would be 24.
You got a 24, and you actually subtract 20, so you got a 4, so you got 2 extra charge packs.
Nice.
Did you pick me up some bolter ammo while you're at the store?
Actually, before we continue, I better ask this before it becomes an issue. Currently his armor is the what's it called there? The
Light carapace. That's what I have.
Well, yes, but he's got the sin skin
Because
on.
I know
Right?
what you're asking.
And I was just curious. It said Xeno mesh armor, but it didn't say which of the Xeno mesh armors it provided.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, you tell me. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know either. I'll just rock the sin skin for a while.
Yeah, no,
Ross, for these acquisitions rolls, because I imagine it could be kind of like us acquiring a large quantity of something. Could it be construed that way? Like if we're getting las packs of a particular kind, that we're getting like dozens, if not hundreds of them brought to our vessel?
7 scale categories from negligible to vast, and it affects it on 9-35 based on the scale. So, except it doesn't actually say. I've seen this problem a couple times where it misquotes it. Basically, the scale. That's a good point. You know what? That being said, he did roll a 70, so I'm sorry, but I don't think you found bolter rounds. But yeah, if you're just getting a few things, that's a good point. Like, I think it'll be a modifier. Like, if you're trying to get a bulk amount, then it's going to affect the modifier. I don't know if it says that matter of scale part right there. So, whoops.
I also thought of one other thing to try rolling for.
Yeah?
A gas mask.
Um,
And I think it's average too.
I don't know how many these we can do, but I'm going to just say that each explorer can do 1 while you're here.
Fair
But,
enough.
yeah.
I'm gonna go a bit larger with mine. I'm gonna aim to This might not be a very high chance because melt-a-bombs are very rare, quote unquote. I want to see if I can get us like a crate full of melt-a-bombs.
Okay, well, since it's a crate, I'm gonna say that's I'm just gonna go between extremely rare and near unique, only because it's a whole crate. But if you get a crate, it's gonna be a whole crate of melt-a-bombs.
All right, fingers crossed. Rolling the D100.
I would have went near unique, but a digital weapon is so rare and unique. Like, in fact, you guys need to get digital weapons as fast as possible, because those are...
All right, with a 27, I don't think we acquired any. Not sure.
No, yeah.
Okay, that's my roll.
All right. What about Roar? Did you do one?
I want to try for a bunch of lasgun ammo.
Yeah. Okay. Like, say 2, and then if that's the case, and I'm sorry I didn't give you this, but you passed it anyway, Tanner. I'll give you a plus 20 on top of it, already being a plus 20, so you have a plus 40 for lasgun ammo if you only want like 2 packs.
I got a 7.
Nice.
For pistol ammo, I'll give it a shot.
Well, I think I'll just keep it to 1 acquisitions check per explorer. I think, yeah. I mean, I don't think I want to do like...
Well, I've already rolled that and flubbed it, so next time.
Yeah. Did everybody get to do an acquisitions test? Yeah.
Isn't a 7 really, really good? You're trying to roll under?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's a roll under system. Yeah, you want to get under your score.
Yeah, okay. So let's see. What is it? What? Oh! I will post later what I misunderstood on this page. But I was real confused for a second. Okay. So, let's see, what were we doing? Okay, so we got our extra ammo acquisitions. The pilot is asking whether or not you want to depart, or if there's anything else you want to do in Port Wander.
I think there's nothing else unless someone else says something, last call for things before we leave.
Is there anything that you want to say to the crew before you depart? Of 70,000 people, no pressure.
Darius is gonna grab the Vox caster being presented to him, and he's gonna give a terse but rousing speech about how there is glory that awaits us, and the generations of your future generations will hear of the tales of our journeys out here and your ancestors' bones that surely already lay within the Millennium Boneyard, which you will be interred with. You will enjoy it. This will be a great journey, a new stage for our dynasty.
All right. I will give I'll write this down. I'll give a bonus if we get to a morale check for the crew. There are a few situations where that can come up. All right. Let's see here. So the captain, or not the captain, the pilot starts to input some things into the nearby cogitator. Several of the other servitors start to do things, and you slowly start to see the view from outside change and start to move as the Millennium Boneyard starts to gain enough space away from Port Wonder and the nearby system to be able to make a warp jump. Meanwhile, you're checking out the Geller field. So, Ramirez, 5713, and some of the attendants of Lady Guldani. I imagine that a Geller field generator looks like one of those devices. It's archaeotech. Like, no one exactly knows how these things work anymore. We just do the best we can to maintain what we have. I imagine it looks like that thing from Event Horizon, like a rotating sphere thing with stuff on it, and stuff like that. It is something from the dark age of technology of humanity, from a time long forgotten. What do you want to do with it?
Oh, well, I want to. Well, I of course know a great deal about Geller field generators. Which is to say, I know nothing out of character. However, I know a great deal in character, and my intention is to run a diagnostics check and make sure we're operating effectively.
Okay.
No hiccups.
You can make a tech use check.
All right, a tech use check. Let's see. Do. There's some buttons here. Are there any modifiers involved in this, or just a raw check?
Yeah, you have a long time before you're able. You probably need to voyage, like, to be able to make the safest warp jump possible. You probably need to voyage like a week into real space before you can, the faster you push the warp jump, the more risky. So, like, you probably got a long time. So I'll say you got a plus 20 because you got plenty of time on your hands.
All right. Plus 20.
And then the Siniskull's helping you, and if I recall correctly, that automatically is just another degree. So you get plus 30 from that.
So do I type plus 30 as my modifier?
Yeah, and then I think you also have like some feats that you have, some features that related to tech use, but I don't know if they apply to this.
I'm unclear if they're entered automatically, but I think for the most part, where we've got what
Oops,
I've got.
I didn't mean to.
I'll press this. Oh, look at that! 4 degrees of success.
Ooh, nice.
Those are some degrees. I also additionally have I do have some archaeotech. I am trained in archaeotech, if that it becomes relevant.
Yeah, nice. Let's see. I think that what you're able to tell from this is that this is probably one of the most reliable. The technology from this time was so well made that there's this thing called a standard template construct, where basically humankind, like 20,000 years ago, literally perfected technology. Like, you can't do it better. And so they're like, we're just going to give you the recipe so that you can make the perfect tank or the perfect ship. And all of the technology the Imperium has is built on these STC models to be able to know how to do them. And this is like a example of perfection. Like, to you, this is a religious moment, probably, because this is like the expression of the machine god's will himself. And it is beautiful. You're confident that this thing will work as well as this machine possibly can.
Oh, it's more beautiful than I had ever imagined.
Indeed.
Splendid.
Masterful craftsmanship indeed.
Yes. Well, I'll have more time with this later. Let's go tell the captain that we're rocking and rolling here.
It shall be done.
All right. Well, let's see here. You begin after a week. You come to a place where you are able to make the jump. And you see the, the ship's ability to rip reality itself open into a tear. And this thing just like, you see beyond it these unusual lights. All of you at this point in your lives have seen this several times, where you've transited through the warp. And it's simply the ship just enters into this tear. And then within the tear, all of the shielding before you entered it, anything that allowed you to look outside the ship was thoroughly closed and shuttered to prevent you from being able to see what's happening outside the ship, and you're just enclosed in this thing now. And it is uncomfortable. You can feel like after a while, it feels as if you're in here for hours, then maybe a day. You start needing to take shifts as you're in here, so that people can rest and try to eat, The crew is nervous. There are things that start to feel different. You notice disparities in how people tell time. Sometimes crew members who are always punctual seem tardy, despite devices trying to check, measure time and stuff like that. Sometimes you feel this sensation of, going into a place that makes you nervous, and the hairs on your skin, if you have skin, some of you have less skin than others. The ones that have skin, it feels like it raises up, and everyone just feels uncomfortable, like that you shouldn't be here. And this goes on for a while until finally, while you're on your command throne, you get a Vox transmission, Lord Captain Darius. Seems to be coming from the Navigator, one of her retinue, because she's obviously in tune and in communion with the Astronomicon of the God Emperor from Terra. So she's desperately trying to maintain reference to that signal, and one of her retinue tries to reach you via your command throne.
Patch the voice through. Turn the Vox up 3,000%.
Lord Captain, on behalf of House Galdane, we regret to say that we should probably, despite our week's travel in real space, we should probably enter real space as soon as possible.
Dropping this soon? I was led to believe we would be in the warp longer.
Lord
Have
Captain,
we met with complications?
we've been in the warp for days.
Darius kind of looks around, looking at the faces of his retinue that are nearby, seeing if anybody else has an odd expression. Like, have we really been in here that long?
I'll check my, well, the game refers to it as a, where are you there? Chrono,
Yes.
but,
Ramirez, check your chrono piece for me.
right away, and for the viewers at home, he's going to reach into his robe pocket and lift out a pocket watch.
Okay. The pocket watch indicates that you've been in here for 83 hours.
83 hours, a couple of days, but perhaps not as long as they have been led to believe.
Perhaps we've just arrived early. Let's stay positive. Let's keep morale high. Darius kind of leans up and he taps the Vox caster. Yes, whatever must be done, pull us out. Return to real space.
Your will be done, Lord Captain. And then the Vox ends, and then the whole ship, you hear it groan. Like the whole ship, just like this old creaking, like as the ship is bending. And then all of a sudden you see the lights again, as it looks like the Immaterium has been ripped open. Let's see here. I don't think that's... Oops. Then your ship rips its way back out of the warp. And let's get rid of the warp. And your now couple and a half mile long cruiser is back in space, but nowhere near its correct position within the maw. It seems that you're off course. Yeah, and that's what's apparent as you come back into real space.
Darius will look to those of his retinue to figure out what is going on here, and he'll say, figure out where we are, figure out where we need to be. He crosses his arms and just relaxes back on the throne.
All right. Gracia, then Electus, she's like, doesn't have eyes, has some big thing sticking into the ship. She just like presses onto a cogitator and is like, Lady Guldani, the Lord Captain wishes to know our position. And then through the Vox, Lady Guldani's voice comes through. I'm sorry, Lord Captain. If we had stayed in the Immaterium longer, the eddies and currents, the breaks that were there in the warp space, it would have torn the ship apart. We needed to leave and enter real space. It is proving especially difficult to navigate in the warp. I believe if we can spend some time and recharge our warp, the warp drive here, and if I can spend some time studying the charts, we may be able to remap our course back to the battleground.
Navigator, how far are we from the battleground?
I would say that we're about a week's travel by warp time.
Understood. We've come out at an odd space. If we have weeks ahead of us still, let's scan the surrounding area. This stinks. This stinks of foul intent.
All right. The pilot, Gracia, she says, yes, Lord Captain. And you can actually use the Millennium Boneyard character sheet to make a... there's a specific skill check for this. It's... where is it?
Hopefully I did not make a mistake.
No. You didn't. I was looking in the skill list. There's a specific skill for this. And I can't remember what it is, but either way, with the crew skill levels, you can make a basic intelligence attribute check. I was trying to remember the specific skill, but it's going to pan out about like that anyway.
2.9 degrees of success.
She uses the auspex array to try to see what's nearby in real space, and then there's some really bad news. You hear something. You hear something come through as you hear like the crackling, weird, warbling sounds of the auspex. And then you hear a sound transmit through the Vox via the auspex. In succession, 3 vibrating, warbling, horn-like sounds.
E4, 5-7, what do you make of this?
I think that... Oh, go ahead.
It sounds like danger.
Which sword?
I think you could make either a logic skill set test if you're trying to figure it out, or there's Any skill test that's like lore specific to. I don't think either of you have lore for this. Looking at yours, you could probably make a tech lore check for 5713, but otherwise it would be like a logic or. Yeah, that's probably would be logic.
And who is making this roll?
Well, either of the two tech priests could make a logic test, and then I see Caleb that you have 5713 has tech trained common lore, which you could also try to do.
Which unfortunately I'm completely failing to figure out how to roll.
I failed my roll.
Uh-oh.
What button am I
Logic.
pressing for this?
There's a button to the right of your skill down at the bottom, where if you go down to skill groups, common lore, and then to the right it says roll tech.
Yeah, sadly, that's not that button is not responding whenever I click on it.
I could do it. I don't know. It didn't let you click on it?
No, it's most.
Seems to have given him a much better result.
Let me make sure you do have control of it. So
Yeah, I've been able to click other things, I believe.
Yeah,
so
I was able to click it. You can take my roll if you want, or you can re-roll it and just add the bonus.
You know, I'm gonna take your roll. I think I'm.
I guess you could say it's a little hand of the
here.
Emperor there.
Yeah, 5713. You know that this is impossible. You're like, this is not logical. Basically, sounds have transmitted through space. Something is breaking the laws of physics. There is something on the edge of your range in aspects, about 20 stellar units out and closing. Various bodies. She says as much. The pilot does. Gracia. She says,
Lord Captain, there are stellar bodies at the edge of our aspects range that are closing and fast.
And 5713. You know that these things manage to transmit sound through your Vox, and that has broken physics. Like, that's not possible.
Oh, excellent news! It escaped me for a moment, but I figured it out now. Yes, this is impossible. Most certainly, yes.
What? What do you mean impossible?
Complicated premise. It can't happen.
In one sentence, narrow it down for me, Mechanicus.
Okay. No.
2 battle stations!
Let me make sure. Let's see here. Yeah, so your crew does, and I'll say that you get a free turn. Basically, you have surprise because you're able to tell. Something else blasts through the Vox, through the Auspex. Just screaming noises.
Little navigator, are you quite certain that we have left the warp?
Would I be able to make a common lore roll or a logic check?
Yeah.
Alright. Let's see here. Common lore or... Let's see. What the heck? Where's common lore again?
Ooh, 14. On the first page, it should be, if you have a lore for something, it should just be on the lore stuff at the bottom.
Oh, I see. Imperial Creed, no. Imperium, no. War, no. Underworld, no. Never mind.
What were you thinking of, though, Tanner?
Well, I'm just rolling to know if you would know, what kind of creature breaks the laws of physics and goes, wah.
I mean, if you the player know that, that's fine too.
Alright. That would explain why we heard booming in the vacuum of space.
Can you explain for those that are not as
Do you know what a
intelligent
green
as...
Do you know what a greenskin is?
Oh.
Yes. Not to put too fine a point on it, they are a race of barbarians so genuinely stupid. They do not realize that sounding horns in space is impossible.
Oh.
Ramirez, Hans, strap yourselves to your chairs. I'm sure the tech priests are already connected, but things are about to get a little rough.
With pleasure, Lord Captain.
All right. You have a free action because you were able to do a successful detection check. Can't remember what. The first thing is, what's the overall plan, Alex?
Well, the first thing that pops up to mind for me, and if it's okay, since I've already done some rolling, I definitely want others to get the rolling in too after this. But the plan that I think we should follow is, if these are the ships we've detected that we see, we should try to plot a course around and try to take out the separate one before we grab the other two.
All right. So you want to maneuver by coming to a new heading. Let's see here. Bearing and speed. Because I think your speed of your ship is, 7? So you can go 7 stellar units per turn. So this is about your range in 1 turn. So you're thinking you want to come to a new bearing and then go full speed?
I realize now that this is very similar to I can't remember the name. It's a tabletop thing. Yeah, so we're gonna need to change our bearing. We're gonna need to make sure that our speed is set to the highest.
All right, adjust speed and bearing, so it's going to be a hard pilot check plus your maneuverability score. So your ship's maneuverability is a plus 18, and then you'll do a regular piloting check. This says 65. I think it should be... I'm going to put it in the perception. It should be 55 anyway. So you can make a perception check plus 15. And then, meanwhile, the rest of you can do any number of extended actions.
Could I aid the machine spirit to help with the maneuverability?
Ah, nice. Yeah, make a tech use test to see if you can aid it. Anyone else?
I would love the opportunity to augur at our intended victim.
Got a 4.
And strengths.
All right, so let's see. Now you have bonus to detection and maneuverability. So, Alex, I'll say you can add another 20, because if he's just helping at all, you get a 10. So you get a plus 20 on top of the 18. So plus 38. So what is that? 30, 55, 85 plus 8 is like 90. So you just gotta like not roll a 96, I think. And then, I'm sorry, Caleb, you were going to do active augury to try to scan an area.
I think the more specific, the focused augury. I think I want to scan a specific target.
Focused augury. Okay. Yeah, so you can make a scrutiny or a detection, either one.
Okay. I don't know what detection. I haven't been able to find a detection on yours, but I do have scrutiny, so I can scrutinize it. Should I add anything to this?
If someone helps you, you could.
I'm thinking about helping him with that because I've got scrutiny as well, and
so you could roll it and then he helps you.
Are you good at scrutiny?
I've got that trained, and I've got a roll of 31 on it.
I would like to help him with scrutiny.
Nice. All right, so now I'll say you got to roll under a 51 then.
Okay, and detection, because it says scrutiny plus detection.
Oh yeah, that's the ship's detection. The ship's detection adds another bonus. You have a detection 20, so that would make it 75. Roll under 75.
All right, scrutiny 75. Oh.
Hans, what are you doing?
I would like to, whatever weapon we are bringing about to this lone target, I would like to lock on with it.
Lock on target.
Using the lock on target, yes.
Okay, that'll be an extended action into the next turn, yeah.
We might
And you
be able
said-
to hit it with the forward gun if we do the 7, and then I think that's got a range of 10. That might put us in range
You said
with our long
75?
range one.
Yeah, 75.
Okay, very good. Just want to make sure. Rolling now.
Okay. Yeah, so you could either fire it at the end of the movement, or you could lock on the target, and it would give you a bonus for the next round. But he's saying that he wants to lock on, so let's do that. So make a scrutiny check at your basic attribute level. Okay, so whatever the attribute for scrutiny is, plus detection, and your detection is, what is it again? I think 20? Yeah, plus 20.
Alright, I believe I put 20 in here. And can we submit? And I either screwed it up and therefore failed, or I didn't screw it up and still failed. I don't know which one. Because it's the input modifier. I put the 20 in the input modifier, correct?
Right. Yeah.
Alright, so then I still failed.
Well, yeah, you did. All right. No big deal. You probably just don't know enough yet, and there's all this other stuff that's kind of interfering on the aspects. And then meanwhile, Ramirez, you're not able to be sure yet, but what I'll tell you that you can tell from the scans is that these ships are not really large.
Smaller
John
vessels, your captain.
grunts in annoyance at his lack of ability to use computers and smacks us out of it in an attempt to get it to work.
All right, Alex, so you can move to a new bearing, and I think you changed your speed. So I think you can add a certain amount. Let's see, it's adjust speed and bearing, so you can turn earlier than normal while moving faster or slower than normal. So the big deal is that you usually have to move then turn, but you're able to turn and then move. And it doesn't say how far you can. What's your degrees of success on your roll, actually?
I'm not sure. That's how a
Here it
degree
is,
of
2.9.
success is each. Okay.
Yeah, so I'll say that you can roll. You can go 2 more stellar units.
Okay. I don't actually have control over the ship's
Oh
token.
crap! Let me fix that. I don't like that at all.
Thank you.
Now you should be able to control it.
All right. So set the bearing as. What? Oh, oops. I had it there for a second. There we go. And I think if I heard you correctly, understanding, because I'm trying to
9, yeah.
pump between pages. Yeah, 9. Okay, yeah. Then this shall be where we end up. And all right.
All right. They're gonna do their turn. He's gonna. You hear this this roaring across your Vox, and they are gonna try to see if they can do something similar. Actually, he is able to. He doesn't want to move faster. He just wants to come in and start fighting. That's all he cares about. And I think he's got a. These other 2 are also going to try to do that. 38 and 79. One of them fails and just slams into a nearby rock and just explodes.
Perfect.
Ramirez will turn to one of his comrades. You see? Mind-numbingly stupid.
Imbecilic creatures, we shall cleanse them and continue on.
Indeed, Lord Captain.
Let me see what this ship can do. Let's see.
Haley boat.
It has 1 on the prow side and the port, but it's a little bit out of its prow because of the bearing change, so it's just going to roll its work gun battery at port. Right, not that one. It's going to be this one. Let's do it. Fire. Fire! Oh, hey! It's within half range, so it gets a bonus. That's about it. Okay. It does hit you, but with no extra degrees of success. So it does damage. It does. D10 plus 2 damage, so it does 10 damage.
Oh, so you can get a hit even with a negative degree of success.
What's that? Yeah,
you can get a hit.
So it hits, but with an extra degree of success, you get additional hits within the weapon's strength range.
Negative 9.9
degree of success. So it succeeded, but it didn't get another degree of success.
Mm-hmm.
Or whatever, so it doesn't.
I'm still confused, but whatever.
It's kind of like, I guess, to equate it to other systems. There's systems where, like, if you get
It's like
right
Traveler,
on,
actually.
yeah, that's actually exactly what I was thinking of. Like in Traveler, if you get right on the amount you needed to succeed, you succeed, but with a consequence. I'm sure this is kind of similar to that.
So
Okay.
let's see what your armor is. You've got 20 armor. So I don't even think it gets past your armor. I think you just these stupid cannon things just like bounce off your ship, and it's just kamikazing straight towards you just for the mayhem of it. All right, it's your all's turn.
The vessel on the you know what? Can we get if I'm understanding this right, we have something on the prow. So is it possible to blast it with both from this angle, is it possible to blast it with both that weapon we have on the front, and while we make a maneuver around, hit it with a broadside?
I'm gonna say that you can do it. I know that you're showing here on the 2D plane, but I'll give you credit for the grid you're in, right? So, like, I'm gonna say you can use the full broadside. So there's that, and you can do this one if it's within half range, which it is. Because, if it's further out of the range, well, no, it's the opposite. If it's within closer range, then, no, yeah, I'm just going to say, because it's closer, I'll say that you can fire both.
Awesome. All right, then that'll be our goal this turn, chaps. We're going to blast them with all we got and try to set a proper course to engage the other one.
Superb. I will try and lock on again.
You're going to try to lock on?
Yes, please.
Okay. Go for it.
Alright. The ship's modifier grants me... The ship's modifier grants me... another 75, or...
Oh, sorry, yeah. So, lock on. I think, am I crazy? Lock on, you can do... Oh, your detection. Yeah, so the ship's detection is plus 20, and you do a scrutiny test. That's what it is.
Excellent. And is the other guy helping me, or just...
Yeah, I'll help you out again.
All right, so it'd be a plus, I'll say a plus 30, unless you do a tech... Well, never mind. It's plus 30, yeah. Plus 30.
Alright, here we go.
Now
let's try it again.
Now, if you all are firing both weapons, then I'll say that's going to take Hans and E410 to fire it.
Thankfully, I got him.
You got it?
Yep. Barely
Okay.
got it, but I got it.
So that's cool, because you get the benefits of lock on. To yell at your crew to lock on the target, you get a bonus. To how many degrees of success?
No degrees of success.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm getting a quick phone call, sorry.
Yeah, no problem. I'll say that you get... I'll say you get a plus 20 then, because basically if you help at all, you get a plus 10. So if you want to fire your weapons, E410 and Hans, you can fire the weapons if you want.
Yeah.
Is there any kind of like because we don't need to do any adjustment of our speed or bearing this turn, it seems. Is there a way that as the captain I can make a roll to try to aid them?
Now you will go your full speed in the direction you're going. If you don't do anything else, by the way, which is fine.
Well, I think the way that the adjust bearing works is that like it lets us turn early. We can still make a turn without a roll, but it's much further along.
That's true too. Yeah, that's right. let's see. Yes, you can also do an extended action if you'd like.
Thank you for your patience.
No problem.
Extended action.
Could
I
you
asked mostly because I didn't see anything on the list right away. I'm not sure whether like being able to help command my allies helps them whatsoever. If not, then don't worry about it.
You could try to hail the enemy, disinformation, lock on target. You could focused augury, you know. But yeah, you could totally do something other than a move action. Absolutely.
Oh, is it perhaps the quote unquote put your backs into it? Because that one seems to be related to the fellowships. Let me take a check on that real quick. Put your backs into it. Yes, I can choose to. If I succeed, I can add a +5 ballistic skill to shots being made. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
In that case, yeah, I'll do a put your backs into it.
Remember, it is important to aim with your backs.
Whoa, 5 degrees of success.
Says the robot man with the robot things coming out of his back holding the gun, probably. Put your back into it. Yes. 5 degrees of success. Okay. Do you know, does it say there that additional degrees of success do anything?
Unfortunately, I don't think it
That's
does.
okay. Yeah, all right. So I think that brings us to a +25 for E410 and Hans to fire.
Okay. Now, which broadside are we firing? The Sunseer or the Mars pattern? Because I don't know my battery.
Yeah,
I don't know which one's for starboard. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. The Titan Forge is on the starboard side. And then on the prow, you have the Sunseer, so you can fire both. One of you can pick each.
Is it half range?
Yeah, actually.
All right. And then it was a what? +25 modifier.
Yep.
All right.
Which one are you firing?
The Titan Forge.
Okay.
So that was a 2.3 degrees of success.
All right. And you have strength 2, which means that you can roll damage twice.
Okay.
Baller.
What about you, E410?
I'm just trying to figure out how I roll for the shoot for the ship.
You go to the
So-
Millennium Boneyard and then go to ship and roll and scroll down, and it has the weapon. And you would be firing the Sunseer? Yeah, it's the Sunseer. And it
I
has
think
the
you click
R
the
button.
R button. Yeah.
So I roll for damage twice, right?
Yep.
All right.
Uh-oh. The other one misses.
61.
So I got a total of 12 plus 6, 18 damage.
18 damage. Let me look at its armor. And the other one missed, right?
Looks like it.
Okay. Armor of 2.
Oof.
So you just create havoc on this thing, and it takes out the majority of the ship. I think it's going to do a critical as well.
Oh my gosh.
So it says a lucky hit strikes the ship's bridge, sending shrapnel scything across the compartment, opening it to space. All crew members on the bridge pass a challenging dodge reaction or be hit by shrapnel, doing 8 explosive damage. The damage result is 12 or higher. The bridge components also depressurized and hold. So basically, I won't go through all that, but you actually see orcs flying off into space, and some orcs like weirdly holding on, like it doesn't make any sense, you know. But like, yeah, and
Define weirdly holding on. Like they've still got their hands on the control wheel.
yeah, like they're, you know, like it's being depressurized, and so for some stupid reason they're still trying to hold on. instead of being thrown off into space. It is mostly destroyed. But I'm going to just say that it can't move, but it can still shoot. And anyways, with that, the rest of your turn goes with you all kind of moving off into space. So that would have them like off somewhere else at this point. That's kind of what that would look like, I think. And wait, I lost the other ship. Oh.
Yes, the orcs were lost in the immaterium. They nicely leave it load.
So you guys fly way off here because you go like 7 stellar units. And then, let's see, it's their turn. He's going to be able to shoot you, I think, unless he doesn't have something. It's 9, so he may not actually be able to. 9, and he has no guns to starboard, actually. At this point, you could actually just leave them in the dust if your goal is to just leave. Like, you could just burn, or you could terminate, the aliens and turn to starboard and decide you just want to not leave them here for anyone else. It's up to you.
Could we do a scan, perhaps, and see if there's any major systems we would want to steal from their ships, like things they stole from the Imperium or something?
Ah, yeah. Did they take anything?
We're a rogue trader dynasty. There must be profit.
Right. Yeah. No, they have. It is nothing but filthy Xenos tech, of which is entirely orcish in nature. It's not. They don't have like stolen Imperial parts that are sufficient enough to. Yeah. It's not like they have like a. Yeah. They don't have anything really juicy. No.
Lord Captain, we would only be the best of citizens and finest of spacefares if we were to wipe out the rest of this accursed greenskin menace, so that they do not harangue other men of the Imperial. You understand?
You're right, Ramirez. Turn on whatever recording devices have not yet been running this entire time, so we may have proof of this valiant battle. Finish them.
Right away, my liege. And Ramirez will do just that. Yeah, this is going to be recorded for the ages.
Okay, so the key to this will be a successful turning about, which I think will be a difficult maneuver check. So Darius, you can use the Millennium Boneyard's intelligence. I'll say that you got to do it at a -10. You need to turn around. That's the key in order to fire.
I aid the machines
yes.
in order to bolster our maneuverability. Okay, let's see.
What did I say? Yeah, actually, let's see how your check goes.
Do I modify this with anything, or just a tech use roll?
I think it's just a tech use roll, unless your tech priest friend helps you out or something.
Wonderful. What kind of a bonus do I get to that?
Okay.
From that, rather?
Yeah, I know the book says... What I'm going to say is basically, now it's... do the ship's intelligence check at +10 now.
+10, alright.
That leaves 3 other people to do things and fire. Oh, you're able to do it. Alright. So you're able to come about. I won't do all the specifics because, ultimately... It's really unfair because you're able to like kind of make it out into real space and come all the way back around. And then these ships, one of them's broken, the other one's just one ship. So you can fire however you want or do whatever you want now.
May I make a charm roll to get the crew to put their back into it?
Yeah. Fellowship roll.
Let those cannons fly, crew. This is for the ages.
Oh yeah, you are 9.
Oh no.
Oh.
I'll say that you
They're not
also
quite
moved.
feeling it right now.
But what's the... I mean, the range of our Sunseer laser battery is 9. And
Right.
Mm-hmm. You guys made sure to be put on the front, so yeah, we would be able to get it within range.
Well, he's got a good point. As it stands right now, you can only fire, I think, 1 weapon. Which you can.
I could fire it.
All right. Do you all want to like do a what is it, aim weapon check or something to see if you can add to it?
I can make a lock on target to attempt to help.
Yeah. All right.
Let me. That was what? I got too many pages pulled up. Scrutiny check, correct?
Scrutiny plus the ship's so what's it say here? It says lock on target scrutiny plus the ship's detection. So that's plus 20.
20. Nice.
I
no.
Failed
Oh no.
100.
horrifically.
Oh no. Is there such thing as a critical failure?
I don't know, but
Not
I
for
think
this,
this
I don't
game's all
think.
about critical failures.
Yeah.
I got a negative 6.2. So degrees of failure. So
I don't.
that
Does that break the auspics? Oh no.
If
Yeah.
so, would he be able to burn a fate point?
Oh, by the way, the session, we only have 30 minutes left, and you guys have fate tokens, so you could use a fate point to re-roll if you want.
I think I'm gonna do that.
All right.
Scrutiny. And we failed again.
But it's not as bad.
So only one weapon can fire. Do two of you want to try to help with this? I don't know.
I don't see why not. Unless I've already used my action this turn.
Or one of you, anyways. Yeah, it'd be you. Ramirez would.
Alright. What would you like me to contribute?
Oh, it's up to you, but you could try to do the what is it, lock on target if you want, or anything. You can jam the other one's communications. There's all kinds of stuff you can do.
Alright, I'll try to lock on again. Yep, scrutiny plus detection. So the ship's detection is plus 20, so that'll be scrutiny plus 20, 51. And is there anything else I'm forgetting to add?
I don't think so.
Alright, let's see if this works. Submit. Oh, 3 degrees of success. There we go.
Nice. Okay. All right. So that gives you, I'll say, a plus. What is it? Plus 20. E410 to fire the prowl weapon.
Excellent. We have them in our sights.
And that's the Sunseer?
The Sunseer, yes.
And
Let that
any
ship from
bonuses
side to side.
from the lock-on?
Yeah. So plus 20 from the lock on.
Wonderful. That's connection. Good.
All right. And you can roll for
77.
damage. Seven
Do
damage.
we roll 4 times overall?
No, because he didn't get any degrees of success, so it's just one hit.
Okay.
But 7 damage, and it's got 2 armor, so 5. So the orc ship blares into a this display of just destruction. The scrappy parts of this thing fly off everywhere into space. And it's their turn. And let's see, he's definitely going to attempt to try to come about. They're just all about like a good fight, and so they're probably like, this is a good way to go. This is a good orc death. He is able to bring his weapons about and come within half range, and I think he's got port. Well, actually, he'll only be able to fire the prowl weapon. Let's see, prowl weapon. I didn't say they were smart. I never claimed that.
I'm pretty sure our characters know in universe are kind of dopey.
And they fail miserably.
Holy Hannah!
Like, really bad. They're like, come on, you gits! Load the cannons, idiots! And they're just like trying to smack these Gretchen to try to fire the weapons, but then the orc knob ends up killing half the Gretchen. He's like, I needed those Gretchen. Bloody humans. And then, alright, it's your all's turn. And now you're within half range of all of your weapons. So you can fire all three. If you also want to try to like do double lock-ons, you know, and then fire 3 weapons, whatever y'all want to do, you know.
Speed. Let's hit them.
You could ram the ship.
How fast are we going?
You're not
Right next to
wrong.
the meteor?
It is far too early for us to be replacing the paint on the Millennium. We are not ramming them.
I will say that you will miss the rock. However, I think there is a possibility if you just ram into it. I don't know, but you can do it. That is absolutely a thing you can do.
Regardless
Aerial
of what they'll
ships are very strong at ramming things.
Yeah, I'm gonna look it up because I have no doubt in my mind that that's an action. Come on, disengage, heading.
I have every confidence in our hull to beat out an orc killyboat.
I do too, but I do not believe that the paint nor the gilding on the hull will maintain itself.
I know that
Have to
regardless
believe
of,
in the Omnissiah.
This is ancient paint from the apex of our civilization. If anything can withstand an orc killyboat to the face, it's this paint.
regardless of whether or not we scrape the paint or fire away, Ramirez will order, the final enemy is within sight. Prepare to scratch their paint. It- Nope, they were not buying that at all. I believe, Lord Captain, I should let you make the daring speeches going forward.
Darius kind of like flicks his wrist. It's like none the matter. But I will say, if we are driving our vessel straight into them at ramming speed, the price of the damage to the ship will be taken out of your paychecks.
It's a hard test plus maneuverability. If you succeed, you crash into the target, doing however much damage is your hull size minus D5 for a raider. Hull size minus D5. You will do more damage by not ramming it, but it's got attitude, you know.
Do we take any? How do we know what we take in return, if anything?
Yeah, first I'm checking the hull size. It says the hull size for you is I'm not exactly sure, but it has hull integrity. So I'm wrong. It will do way more damage if you ram into it.
Oh my god.
I think it may be worth it, Captain.
And then I'll look at the come on. Come on, space combat. Where's that? Ah, jeez. It's in like a bubble here. Here we go. And then doing damage. The ship adds the die roll to its prow armor value for total damage. So adds the die roll to its prow armor. Hull size
Our
minus
armor
D5.
is like 20 something, right?
So it'd be so I'm just gonna say 2. So okay, so that's gonna be 58 die roll to its prow armor value for total damage. So you'll you'll destroy it if you do this. The damage ignores void shields, so it ignores shields, which it doesn't have anyway. Then you take the damage equal to the defending ship armor plus D5, and it ignores your shields and your armor. So you will damage yourself.
Oh.
I'm sorry. But you know now that is for real is a legit option. Like if you're facing like a chaos battleship, hey, I'll take some damage to slam 60 points of damage into this chaos battleship. Let's do it, right? Like you got
We
an
do
option
have
there.
2 tech priests that could repair everything.
Yeah.
Would you mind horribly if I attempted, while we're charging full steam ahead at it, attempted to hit it with the laser battery that's in the front of our ship?
It actually says that you can't. It says this. It says you have to give up your shooting action to do the ram.
Oh. Never mind then.
You know what, Lord Darius will do some quick mental computations with, and he's gonna use like a servitor next to him as like a calculator, and I'm just gonna roll a dice, and we're gonna decide whether or not it costs more to replace the paint on the ship or to buy new.
The servitor
new
like
shots.
lazily looks up and is like, "Lord Captain, the casualty rate for this ramming action is a mere 230 personnel."
Darius shoots his arm up, and he points at the glass in front of the like the viewport at where the ships are in front of us, and he says, "Ram them out. Ram them with the ship. Destroy them. I want them dashed against our prow."
All right. There's no question that you'll destroy them. I just have to look at their armor. Good news! Their armor sucks. So all I have to do is roll a d5, and this is also against your armor. I'm sorry, I forgot that. I get a 2, so it does 4, and your armor is a 20. So you just like, you just slam into this thing, tossing aside all of the asteroids nearby and everything else as you just like slam through this thing and leave nothing behind. All right, you have your crew. I'll give you another morale bonus as you have vanquished the foul aliens that haunt here in space, preying on poor Imperial free traders.
Yes, like ourselves, poor traders.
Yes.
Perhaps not the quite right view of it, Lord Captain, but they did attack us first, and no one asked them to do that.
And they're orcs.
I would
Indeed.
like to pet the nearest exposed metal and say, yes, yes, you did delightfully. You still have it, you old dog.
The Millennium has performed as expected, as did its crew. Wonderful job, everyone.
After about a week, you're able to, or several days, you're able to enter warp space again. Eventually, after about a week in warp space, as unsettling it is, the crew begins to have confidence in your leadership, and you exit the warp, tearing back into real space at the battleground. Let's see here. You were buffeted and battered by violent warp tides during this passage. But nevertheless, your Geller field held during the unstable warp eddies. And your ship has arrived at a cursed place known as the Battleground, a forsaken stretch of void scattered with the debris of ancient warships. Somewhere here within lies the Emperor's bounty and the salvage you've come to collect. You can see, as you get closer through the vista panels of your vessel, the massive glittering cloud scattered across the void, and you can faintly discern the blasted shells of vessels desiccated and corroded by centuries of unprotected exposure to hard vacuum and solar radiation. It looks like a long time ago some massive engagement must have taken place here and left the twisted remains of assault vessels, ordnances, and other detritus of war. Even as you watch, the cloud moves like a sluggish whirlpool of junk, fragments smashing into each other, breaking into showers of debris and dust. You can make out the weak flicker of plasma drives as it leaks a feeble glow out in space in the center of the chaotic mass. So you've arrived at the battlefield. Now what do you do?
Darius looks to his two mechanical. I need a good word to refer to our two tech priests. Oh wait, it's the tech priest. He looks to the two tech
names also. I can use those.
He looks to E4 and 5-7 and says, Tech priests, begin a full scan of the field. Identify our target and identify any more malevolent forces, such as those greenskins we encountered last week.
Okay. Let's see. I'm looking. There's a check for this, and I can't bloody find it. There's like a... You're just trying to scan it with the...
For augury, it is scrutiny.
Thank you. Yeah, you can make a... but I'm also going to say that you can instead use tech use, because you have time.
Ooh. I like that much better.
Or you can use scrutiny.
Am I able to addition the observation thing of the ship? Whatever that is. Detection.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, you guys can do that as well.
So
Can I help?
20?
Yeah, you can help, and so that would make it a plus 30. Yeah.
Rats.
Oh, you
I
didn't
detect
pass.
no rats.
Yeah, you failed. Yeah, you don't detect anything. You can search for the Emperor's bounty itself, but since you failed that check, it simply takes some time. You do not find anything else of value, sadly, because you failed that check. Oh yeah, you have fate. You can use fate.
I do have fate. I can, I think that's a good call. Let's fate it up here. Just a little fate for our... The fate was not kind today.
Oh dear.
Can I fate further, or am I fated to this outcome?
I can't remember, but we'll just say that, yeah, you can use it. You can use your fate because
All right.
You only have, 2 anyway, or 3?
I only have 2.
Yeah.
Big money, no whammies. All right,
that's worse.
we're gonna
worse.
stop today.
Yeah, so you're able to find the Emperor's bounty after some time. I'll tell you some things that you do know. You know that this is a massive cloud of debris. It's about 300,000 kilometers in diameter. Trying to actually bring the Millennium within range of the Emperor's bounty on its own would undoubtedly damage and endanger the Millennium. You probably will have to use one of your kind of dispatch vessels, what does it call it? A gun cutter, like a smaller vessel or a Valkyrie or something, to be able to get closer. But it takes you a full day or two, but you're able to find it.
Shall we deploy the human killie boats?
You're suggesting we send in... Let us send in some of the crew first. Send in some fodder to give us a foothold on the ship, and we shall follow suit after.
Well, I do believe that the terms of the contract that we have engaged in stipulate that you must be the first one to set foot on the ship, my lord, Captain.
Oh, Darius grimaces. It's like, damn it.
Yep, they thought of everything.
All right, I shall lead this. I shall lead this myself. I shall take the first heroic steps off of our gunboats onto that vessel.
I am the courageous leader that we know and love.
After me, men, and he gives like a flourish of his jacket and begins stepping towards the vessel.
Excellent. Onward to adventure.
Okay, you're able to board the gun cutter, and the pilot swoops in, and you can feel it like it's just shuddering the whole time. It is not a comfortable ride, but the pilot, and sometimes you can actually feel like the inertia of the ship pressing you back against the couches of it, back and forth, as the pilot struggles to try to avoid debris and active, radiation, plasma fields and things. Some things that are still active, or unexploded ordnances and stuff like that. But eventually, the Emperor's bounty comes into view. As you get closer, you can see the Emperor's bounty is in bad shape. Large rents score its hull. Its bastions and bulkheads are pitted and worn by months of unshielded exposure to the void. There are, however, a faint glow from drives, and the shadow of light spilling from the vista dome of the bridge, indicating that the vessel's plasma reactors are not cold. Let's see here.
Curiouser and curiouser.
Oh boy. God, didn't shoot that.
Didn't. Oh. Let's see. I gotta add you all. Here is Caleb and Hans. Make sure that everybody can see.
Can I drag in? I'll drag in my the other token art that I have, if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not showing up for me, and I think that's because I need.
I lost vision.
I need to have it to where, so I'm going to make it to where everybody can see. And vision and... Okay. Sorry, I'm going to give you all vision so everybody can see. And I'll also give you lights. Despite the regressive nature of Imperial technology, I don't think flashlights would be beyond them. Although, they do, put gas masks on their horses and, ride them out into space and weird stuff sometimes, so I don't know. Can everybody see their token now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I also think, Ramirez, I think you have a servitor, right? Like a battle servitor. And I need to make a note, 2 of you have servo skulls. Servo skulls ×2. I will add those next session. But Tanner, you have a... Oh, you're muted. You have a servitor, right?
I do, in fact, have a servitor bot, yes.
Okay.
Although, not to bother you or anything, but would you kindly increase the size of my miniature?
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry.
Thank you. Much better.
Yeah. You got a little mini-me for now, but I will give you a cool-looking servitor token for next time. And
Cool-looking servitor, literally having a mini-me. Servitor, mini-me, servitor, mini-me. Let's debate that in the week.
Alright, so, let's see here. What else does this say? You're able to find the void lock without too much difficulty. And you hope that you're able to form a hard seal and enter it close to what you hope is the bridge. You hope it's not too far away. You determine that with the ship's systems online, on auxiliary power with the drive still active, that you actually don't need void breathers or full void suits right now. Anyways, when you come onto the ship, you get this sensation of the whole thing kind of like slowly kind of like listing, the gravity kind of like off a little bit as you go. The hull plating underneath you feels somewhat unstable. There are flickering lights. You think that on the auxiliary power you can still interface with some of the systems. It looks like this thing has still had power and oxygen. To the two tech priests would quickly be able to surmise that although this ship has probably been lost for hundreds of years or longer, by this ship's time, this could only have happened months or years ago at most. Maybe months ago. For this to be the case, to still have oxygen that hasn't run out and everything.
Another time disparage?
That is my thoughts as well.
And with that, we'll actually end the session there for tonight.